Black is black. I'm talking to Chris Black. That'll cost me money. I better be careful. What? What, baby?
Black, 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 black.
Okay.
Oh,
we are live?
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I had no idea that we were on. We're live. We're live. Welcome. This talk show is on the go. And my name is Sunda Kroonquist, and I'm your host. And I'm here with the one and only Dr. Chris Black. We've gone through some technical issues, Dr. Chris Black, but we got back to where we started from.
Yeah, right. We're here.
Thank you. Tell me more about achieving a winning mindset, considering all the challenges that you, the musician who has worked with Beyonce and countless others, how you came to be here talking to me about your life.
So, my book, Achieving Winning Mindset, was an idea concept I had when I was in the hospital. So just to give everybody a little backstory, I'm a musician. I've been playing bass guitar since I was 9 years old. My parents played music. My father played guitar, played bass. So music is in me. So my first professional gig where I got paid, I call it professional because I got paid when I was 14.
Nice.
I was 14 years old. That was my first one. Then I started touring. I did a lot of touring, played with a lot of different artists. You know, my first R&B artist, let me see if you remember this name. My first R&B artist that I played for was David Peaston.
What song was it? I know the name.
Two Wrongs Don't Make a Right.
Oh, two wrongs don't make a right. And I'm thinking saying sorry don't make it right.
Yeah, I was 18. And so I toured and I traveled, and when I got to 28, I started having some health issues. But I thought the issues I was having was just, I'm a guy. So I'm just going about my life doing what I'm doing.
Because you are a guy.
Because I'm a guy.
That's what you guys do. You don't go to the doctor.
We don't go to the doctor.
You don't check it out.
You just say, because at 28 years old, I was traveling.
Okay.
I was doing real estate investing.
Okay.
And I had a music and art school.
Wow.
So I was doing a whole lot.
So you had no time for you?
No time for me. So I left. I was on the road with a guy named Les McCann. You know Les McCann?
All right. Yes.
Les McCann. Wonderful time. I come back from being on the road with Les McCann. I blacked out. Passed out.
And where is this on stage? Is this in the park? Where?
I was at my school at that time. I was the only one there. I blacked out. And I came to. I called the director at that time and tell you just how my mind was just dumb. I drove myself to the emergency room.
Oh my God. That's a man.
I drove myself to the emergency room, not even considering I could have blacked out again. I didn't really know what was going on.
Right.
So they told me, oh, you dehydrated, you need rest, and all that kind of stuff. So that's where it started. The physical stuff that I had the first time I went to the hospital.
Right.
From that day to 30 days later, I couldn't walk. This was May 2001, and from May to June, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. My health started to decline like that. Now, mind you, it was already declining before. I just didn't pay no attention to it.
Didn't see it. Right
So my body did this thing and said, "Oh, this is what you're gonna do? You're not gonna pay me any attention? So this is what I'm gonna do."
I ain't studying you. You ain't studying me.
So from that moment, I was in a hospital for 3.5 months, almost 4 months, from June all the way to mid-September. I was in the hospital. Couldn't walk. Couldn't use my hands. I could move my hands, but I didn't have any control over the movement.
Okay.
So I couldn't feed myself. Couldn't brush my teeth.
Oh.
I couldn't bathe myself. You know, I was using the bedpan. So all that stuff is going on.
Oh my God.
Until finally, the doctor diagnosed me with multiple sclerosis. Now, I didn't know I heard of it,
Right.
but I don't know what that is. So he basically said that, okay, this is something that you're going to have the rest of your life. You know, so you just need to get used to this. We're going to reteach you how to walk. We teach you how to use your, you know, your fine motor skills. So they had me doing the pegs in the hole and all of that kind of stuff, so I can relearn how to use my fingers and all of that. And this is your life. And I was like, first I was depressed, thought about suicide, and you just think about all the things, all that I had accomplished at that point. And now I'm like,
And all the great people you worked with.
all the great people I work with. And I'm like, wow, I'm 31 now. I was 30 when I went to the hospital. 31 when I got out of the hospital.
Your birthday in the hospital.
My birthday was in the hospital, yes.
Wow, Steve.
I turned 31 in the hospital. And here's something even crazier. My mother passed away. My mother passed away when she was 31.
So it was on your mind.
So imagine, I'm 31 in the hospital, and when I turned 31, they still didn't know what was wrong.
I would have freaked out.
So they told my family stuff was coming back. I'm from St. Louis, and I was living in Houston, Texas at the time.
Fun.
So the doctors told my family that if you want to see him alive, you need to come down, because my health started to decline. I was throwing up everything. I was throwing up bile.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, it was just the worst. So they was like, you know, we don't know all was wrong. We don't know, but his health is declining. So my family started coming to see me and all of that. So just imagine what's going on in my head and what's happening. And there was a moment I was like, this can't be.
Yeah, I know those moments. We have one today. It can't be.
It can't be. I mean, all the stuff I went through, mother passing away, you know, my grandmother passing away, surviving, you know,
the emotional survival.
Right, all of that, and then here I am. So I had to change my mindset. I changed it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna change how I think about this. And that's where the title of the book came from, Achieving a Winning Mindset, because I started to understand that my healing started from here, not from my body. It started from here. I had to change my mindset on what my current circumstance was. And that's where it started.
Do you believe you can heal yourself?
I believe you can heal yourself. I believe that we were born with the tools to heal ourselves.
I believe you.
I've not only witnessed it from other people, I've done it, and I've helped other people to do it.
Here.
I'm here.
This is an example. This is unbelievable.
I have 100% of my mobility, my everything. I had lesions in my brain that was in my cerebellum. The cerebellum affects all movement. Okay. And that's part of the reason.
Where were the lesions? Were you born with them? Was it congenital? I'm just curious. Did you fall?
No, they said the lesions lesions is a symptom from MS.
Oh, really?
Yes. Some people have it in their spine, some people have it in their brain. So that's what that was. I had lesions in my brain.
That's information.
So today, I don't have any lesions in my brain. No lesions in my brain. So I started on this journey. This is before the book, but I started on this journey, and I started doing things. I didn't know what I was doing. It felt natural to do, which I believe it was divine that was allowing me to hear and see and feel things that was already natural to us when we were born. And so everybody has it. A lot of people, they block it, they don't see it, they allow life to get such in a way, like a junkyard where they feel like they're drowning in junk that they can't see where divine is. They can't see the place of healing. They can't see that space.
Because of emotional hoarding.
Yeah, right, emotional hoarding. So they can't see it. So I start to do certain things, and I start to see that I was getting better. I was like, man, I'm getting better. And I couldn't really understand why I was getting better at first. I just was getting better. So I didn't have to use the walker. I was on a walker at first. Didn't need the walker. I went to a cane. Didn't need the cane no more. I used to have to wear sunglasses, and I had a patch because I had My eyes stopped. The nerves in my eyes stopped working again.
Wait a minute.
So
This is all at the same time?
Yeah. So basically, let me explain it.
Oh my gosh.
It's like symptom of optic neuritis. Okay. So what happens is that you need both of your eyes to focus together. They're lenses.
Right.
So they focus together to see. Right. So when they try to work separate from one another, everything becomes a blur, and you can't see. Because you can't focus. So I had a patch over my left eye. So my right eye can focus and see. And then one of my sisters was, I was sensitive to light. So that's why I wore the sunglasses. Because the light kind of messed me up. So I didn't have to do that anymore. I didn't have the patch anymore. I did the cane first, and then I didn't have to wear the cane anymore. So I was released from the hospital in 2001. I stopped taking medication in 2005 or 6, somewhere around in there. With MS, you're supposed to do an MRI. I was doing an MRI every 2 years.
Okay.
So I did MRI. Neurologists there, they had the MRI here, and they was like, huh. They could not see the lesions in the newest MRI. They was like, if we didn't know any better, we would say that there was never any lesions there. But we know because we're looking at this MRI right here. And they was like, well, we don't know what you're doing, how you're doing, or whatever, but keep on doing it, but we want you need to continue to take the medication. In that moment, now this wasn't a pre-thought or anything like that. In that moment, I said, I don't want to take it anymore. I'm not going to take the medication. They was like, but you may, you have to do it to make sure the symptoms don't come back and things like that. And I decided in that moment that I wasn't going to do it. Now now we're talking about 3-4 years in that time.
Right, of
and
course.
there's some things that I did a lot of things in between there. From Achieving Winning Mindset, and then my program I was talking about Master Your Life.
That's what I want to talk about. Master Your Life.
So Master Your Life was what really got me into it. So I started to understand in order for me to heal, I need to look at every part of who I am. I'm not just physical. I'm mental, I'm emotional, I'm spiritual.
Right.
I'm all of those things. So how can I heal one part if I don't look at the other parts of me?
You're gonna make me cry.
It's like they tell you to have, you grow up and say you have a well-balanced meal, right?
Yeah.
Why do they say that?
Because they were told that.
Well, the reason is because having a balanced meal, each piece, meat, protein, vegetable, does something different to your body.
For your body.
For your body.
Yeah, you're right.
Right. So
And you
why aren't you doing things daily that does different things for your body mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Why aren't you doing that? That's ultimate health. When you're doing that, when you get up in the morning and using gratitude, that's a part of being.
It's huge.
Writing down things that you're thankful for, you're grateful for, drinking water.
Water.
Having that spiritual moment.
Yeah.
Making sure your house is clean.
Well,
That's a part of spirituality.
It is. It is.
And so people don't do that. Making sure that you're eating the right food. That's a part of that. Making sure that you're feeding into the mental wellness, your emotional wellness. What are you reading? What are you doing every day that feeds into every part of who you are? What decisions are you making? So that's what I learned, is that we all have things that we need to do every day. We have trauma, that we haven't dealt with. We have stress that we don't deal with. We have things that we suppress in our subconscious, things that we suppress in our unconscious that exist in us that we just continue to live.
Cover up.
We cover up, and then so something happens, and then we ask ourselves, why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. And that's because your whatever was in you subconsciously, whatever that was happening today, it triggered it. You don't even remember the incident.
I was going to say, when did it happen? Right.
You don't.
You'll never know.
Your body don't remember it. Your mind do.
If you let it.
If that trigger, it's that trigger. So that's one of the things I learned in my healing process. Is that, so I used to be 300 pounds, 280 pounds. Okay, and
I don't believe that.
I'm gonna show you a picture when we get finished. I even give this to even show people, because most times when I say that, people don't believe it.
Right.
So I'm gonna show you a picture. But anyway, I was overweight, and I was trying to figure out, okay, I'm eating better. You know, I'm not eating meat anymore. I'm not doing all that, but I still wasn't getting better physically. I still was having issues, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm changing my life. I'm meditating. I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm not getting better. So then I heard his voice say, "Well, because you're not feeding to the whole man. You're only doing part of it. The whole man. There's other parts of you that still needs to heal. Other parts." And I was like, okay. So I went into self-discovery stuff to find that. So I told you my mother passed away when I was 9. My mother passed away when I was 9, and then probably a year and a half to 2 years later, my grandmother, her mother passed away.
That's crazy.
And then another year or so after that, my father's mother, she passed away. So that trauma that I had from that, I remember when my mother passed away, my father, first of all, they didn't believe in therapy.
Of course not. You know we don't do that.
They didn't believe in therapy. So what my father
That's not
told
your
me,
business.
right,
That's not nobody's business.
He took me in the bathroom. Never forget. He took me in the bathroom, and I'm the oldest boy. He took me in the bathroom and he said, "It's your responsibility to take care of your little brothers." That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. And I took on the responsibility. At that time, my brothers were 2, 3, and 6.
Wow.
And he put that on me, and I took it. And that's what happens. You know, kids, who do we love first? Who do we trust first?
Right.
We trust our parents, the people around us. So whatever they say, we believe.
That's it.
Even if they say things negative to you,
yes,
we still believe.
and internalize.
And that's what that part of that trauma and that stuff come from. And I internalized that. I write about it in my book. When I think I was 10 at this time. The house caught on fire. My parents were gone. House caught.
Where's the kids?
We were playing in the basement. We used to have a utility room in the basement with the lawnmower, and the gas can fell over.
Oh.
And it went to the furnace.
Oh my gosh.
And it caught on fire. Now, I'm 10. What I do, I take my brothers, my 2, 3-year-old, I take them up the steps, take them outside, take them across the street. I come back in the house, I call 911, and I go outside. Because I felt like that's what I was supposed to do, because that's the responsibility that my father gave me. And that was those were some of the words that made me take emotions and do this. Suck them up. You don't cry.
That's right.
You know, you have, this is what you do. You get through it.
Just do it.
You deal with it. You suppress it.
Listen.
And that's what I did from then. So I learned that once I got older and started, wrote my book and wrote my program, Master Your Life, that's what most people do.
Were you living with now you have 2 children?
4.
Okay, so he doesn't shoot blanks. Did you hear that? Hello, camera. He doesn't shoot blanks.
4.
4. Okay, so I'm safe. Anyway, were you dealing with weight issues while you were being a parent?
Yes. To my older 2. So my son is 25. My daughter's 22. So with them, yes, I was, almost 300 pounds with them. But here's the thing. In high school, I was 180. Same weight I am now. While in high school. I started to gain weight once I graduated. You know why? Because I'm a musician and I was on the road.
Eating for free.
I was let me tell you something.
Listen.
Eating
Listen.
all the different cities. Me and the drummer was my cousin. What we would do, we would go to wherever city we was in. We would try to find what this city is known for, and we would eat that. And we would just kill it. And we would just eat. I mean, you know, you only got the show at night.
Exactly.
And what are you doing in the day? Besides sound check, you eating. And then after the show, what are you doing? You're finding some food to eat.
Again.
So I gained weight.
I can't believe it.
And I just kept on. And so gaining weight and also not taking care of myself in other aspects. I
Right.
won't get enough sleep. And that's a part of your health.
You have to talk about that more because
you know,
so many mistakes are made.
I was not getting sleep. My typical day, because I was running my school opened at 6 a.m. and it closed at 6. So I would be there most of the day. You know, I'm a working musician too.
Right.
So I would gig at night. So I would finish at 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I would get something to eat. And then I would probably lay down at 3 o'clock, 3:30. I got to be at the school at 5:30 because we open at 6. And that was just the cycle. So then what I would do, and I'm not going to say, I would drink energy drinks every day. So there's a particular brand of energy drink that I would buy a 6-pack and keep it in my truck. And that's what I would drink almost every day to stay up, to keep up with what was happening.
It's dangerous because it's poison and that stuff.
It was poison. So I learned that I was not doing the right things with my body. So with doing the Achieving Winning Mindset and Master Your Life, I learned that every day I have to master who I am by looking at all the aspects, the 4 bodies. I call them the 4 bodies. 4 bodies. Your mental is a body, you know, spiritual is a body. All those are bodies. That if you look at it as a body, then that body has to be healthy. This body has to be healthy. This one. And we just look at it, as long as I eat, then I'm good. And that's not enough.
It's not good, but it's miseducation and misinformation.
It's misinformation. So in any person I talk to, any class I try to teach, any client, I always speak to the whole man. What are you eating? What do you do when you get up in the morning? What does your day look like? What do you do before you go to bed? You know, have you talked about past issues? You know, let's talk about some of your triggers. You know,
there's got to be. Listen,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Because what happens is that we have all this unprocessed information
that is pent up,
unprocessed trauma that we deal with or we don't deal with on a daily basis. We don't deal with it. So that's my message, you know, to people. You know, deal with the whole man. You know, healing is possible. Hey, listen, healing has no respect of person. It does not. You know, it's what you do with it.
You look like a kid. I don't mean like just break off on this, but like you look like a kid.
I'm not a kid.
No, but you make them. And how do we share this wealth of information that you have with that generation, with which we are both living? As I have two, a 21 and a 22, and you have the 22 and 25, right? And
22, 25. I have a 17, and I have a 15.
Okay. Oh my God, you're gonna need Valium. You're gonna be so off of your organic diet. I'm kidding. I'm the only one on Valium, and I have a prescription. Thank you. What do you say to these kids to calm them down? Get off the phone. Do you see how stressed they are? Do you see how sick they are?
Like I was just saying earlier, it's gonna take a lot because it's in the system. They're being taught that through every
avenue.
Yes, through school, through what they watch, through social media. They are being taught how to live. They're being taught how to deal, and all that. Yes, and all the information is not correct.
No.
You know, we were talking about when I was younger, we had typing class. Well, they stopped that simply because my kids didn't take typing class. My son, he started working on the phone when he was 2 years old, 3 years old. So now, they're giving iPads to kids at school to do their work because they're already familiar with social media already.
And it makes it easier for the teachers, or am I crazy?
It makes it easier for the teachers.
Thank you.
They do homework. When they do the homework now, they put it in the Google Drive. It makes it easier. And it has its place.
Right, because in the real world, you'll be using it.
But
my question to you is, when you talk about the whole person and we talk about these kids, why are they pushing this Ritalin and Adderall on these kids, or just kids? What do you think is behind that? If I may, I know it's off your, but you're so sharp on this.
You know what? I think that, and I look at it like this. I'm gonna give you a short answer.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna talk.
Okay. I know this is off the cuff, but
the short answer is it's a quick fix. It's quick. It's quick because if a child comes to you with a problem and they say, I have this and this going on, the quick fix is, let me give you this medication. The medication that you give, now that goes into a whole industry that they're about the money. So that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole other animal.
That's a whole nother conversation. Besides taking the time with that child to say, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's wrong?
Why are you acting out?
Why are you doing? I had a client before, and I wrote an example in my book about a mother, and it's something I actually saw, and I used an example. I saw a mother in a store, frustrated, with a child. It was a little girl with a child, and she was being little. She was singing, trying to get her mother's attention.
Right,
Yeah. Mother was on the phone. Just grocery store. Frustrated. I don't know why. The daughter said something, and I'm not clear exactly what she said, but she wanted her mother to hear her. Sing, say something, whatever that it was. The frustration from the mother turned around to the daughter. She yelled at the daughter and said, stop and stop singing. You can't sing anyway. This girl's probably, I don't know, 8.
That's so destructive.
10 maybe, something like that. But imagine that right there and the emotional impact that had on the child as an 8 and 10-year-old. So now, my mother, whom I love, the first person I loved when I came into this world,
right,
just really told me I can't sing. So now my self-confidence is shot
down,
and I grew up with that. Now, the mother, she probably did not know she did that. She probably didn't.
Probably said, you can't sing anyway, because she was being annoyed because she couldn't hear on
the phone.
She
was being annoyed. I was telling her to shut up.
She had something going on.
She was being annoyed. So I saw that. I wrote about that. And there's a client I had one time that they were an adult, they were artists, and they had self-confidence issues. And I sat down with them, we had a couple of sessions, and I wanted to just kind of talk to them and figure out, you're talented. That's what I'm saying. You're talented. Why do you have self-confidence issues when you get in front of people like you're afraid to sing as if you don't have talent? Don't make sense to me.
Is it stage fright?
It was not stage fright. The self-confidence went back to their mother. It went back to how their mother treated them growing up for them to lose confidence in themselves. So they grew up with that. So, again, earlier I was talking about we have the trauma and we suppress it and we live our life. People say, we always say, people suffer in silence. Yes, suffer in silence because we chose, or sometimes we didn't choose. Because we were told,
that's right,
and we just lived with it.
That's it.
And it just suppress, and then just imagine. Sometimes I give you an example. Imagine you come into this world, a glass of water, a clear glass of water. You're Inception, clear glass of water. So as soon as someone does something, you just imagine you get a little drop of dirt in that water, right? But you don't rinse the water. You just keep living. So something else happened, another piece of dirt. So from the time you were born all the way to, you say 25.
You're mud.
You're mud.
You're mud.
Because you never talked about it. You never released it. Nobody talked to you. You didn't get help. You know.
Because they didn't know.
Because they didn't know.
And it's also, that doesn't make, especially with men, it's like, I'm a man, I don't have to do that. And then the other thing is, well, you don't need a therapist, you just need to pray. And I believe that there is a divine spirit that gives people like you the ability to be a life coach, to talk to people, to help them, to heal them. The sentimentality that you have, where you have overcome, you have to share somehow with this generation. I don't know, what are you going to do? What's the second book? Tell me your second book.
So, Achieving Winning Mindset, the first book, Master Your Life is a set of 3 books that I use for my program.
Okay.
Each book has a different title within the program. I call it Master Your Life series.
Okay.
So the first book is called Identify the Source of Chaos in Your Life. And I call it an action planner because you go through it, you read, and you do something. You read, you do something. It's about having action towards a plan to identify the source of chaos. Other book is called Live Life on Purpose. So some purpose is connected to life. It's the bridge to life. That's how I look at it. Purpose is the bridge to life. So a person that feels like they have no more purpose, what happens to them? They don't feel like they want to live because they don't have purpose to live anymore.
For what?
Like I did when I was in the hospital.
You were sick, yeah. I
was sick. What is my purpose of living now? Since I can't do this, and the other. What is my purpose to live? So that's what that book is about. And then another one is about strategies and self-discovery and things like that. So those are those books. But then I have multiple programs. Master Your Life has multiple programs that help people from kids, I don't care if you're 10 to 65, that we can either talk one-on-one, we can talk in a group session. And I'm even doing something now to where I have a health and wellness program for companies, for their employees.
Because they don't want to go back to work. They can't stay in the office anymore.
They don't want to go back to work.
It's too much. They're seeing people.
There are reasons why. So
communication, they've forgotten with Zoom.
So now what I'm doing is I created this platform for employees. 2 things. One, you'll be able to get resources and things like that. The other thing is being able to talk to people that has experienced what you have experienced.
Right. An empathetic relationship.
Right. So I am hiring people that have experience that they want to share with other people that they can help. Like I have one person who's going to help working mothers because she was a working mother and she was successful at it. Or another gentleman who he dealt with cancer, he had surgery, and he's been living a successful cancer-free life. But there's other people, they need to talk to him. They
feel good.
They need to. So I'm connecting that, but just in organizations. Now, I'll be able to do the same thing with individuals as well. But yeah, that's Master Your Life. Now, I do have another book that is going to come out called Think Better, Feel Better. And it's really, I'm taking the premise of Achieving Winning Mindset and just expanding because it still starts from here.
It's all of it.
If you think better, thinking better makes you act better.
And when you say better, do you say think better about environmental, better about yourself, better about everything?
Better about everything. Because when you start to think better about your own self, you know, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, about how you're eating, then you do better. If you do better, then your life is better. Your life is better, you feel better.
With the wealth of talent that you have to offer and all this information, I have to ask you because this is a real life show and we had some drama beforehand, but I think you should be doing comedy. Have you, I mean, would you ever think about it? I know you're a wellness and I know everything you do, but like, you're funny. Think about it.
I've never thought about it.
That's part of your spirituality, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get up and speak. You know, I always like to, I add this and that and the other in the speaking, but I never thought about that being.
How about when we were not on the mic? Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. And I'm so sorry that we're limited with time, but I want everyone to know where they can find the book, what your social media handles are, and in closing, if you could just save one person today with thinking and changing their mind, what could you tell them how to begin?
If I can save one person, what comes to mind, there's multiple things, but what comes to mind is that when we have an issue with ourselves, we look out. Stop looking out. Look in. Look in first instead of looking out. Because the answer is in. It's here. It's here.
Like you said, it's always been there, right?
It's there.
It's there.
It's there. When I was in the hospital, I'm saying that because I know I have to go, but when I was in the hospital and I couldn't walk, right, a voice came to me. I know it was God, the universe,
right? Something.
I'm in the bed. So this voice comes to me and says, "So you want to be healed?" I said, "Yeah." I'm like, this sounds like a rhetorical. Of course. Of course I want to be healed. So the voice says, well, walk like you are. Okay. How can I walk like I am when I can't walk? I'm like, I'm in the bed. I can't. What are you talking about? So I said, okay, walk like I am. So at this time I had an IV in both arms. So, and in my chart it said you can't get out of bed. So this particular day, I called the nurse. And I told the nurse, I said, I want to take a bath. I hadn't taken a bath in like 3 months. I want to take a bath. She says, okay. She takes both the IVs out of my arm. She wraps it in plastic because, it still has the
Right.
She wraps it in plastic. I get out of bed and take a bath. To this day, I don't remember the whole trip to the bathroom, but I do remember.
There he goes.
I don't. I know. I don't remember the whole trip to the bathroom, but I do remember taking a bath. I took a bath, and then I got back in the bed.
Why do you remember? She washed your back.
So I had to put those socks on that was up here.
Mm-hmm. Freshness socks.
Those pressed. So yeah, I put the socks on, and I got back in bed. And I say that example because I looked in. It was a voice that I heard, but I could have always gotten it.
Because it was always there.
It was always there.
And I know you have to go, but you had another friend, and she was going through something as you were, and it was baby steps. And if you could just reiterate that story quickly.
About okay. So I had a person that I was helping her with health and wellness, and she had issues walking and things like that. And one of her goals was she wanted to walk her dog. That was her goal. She wanted to walk her dog. So we went through a lot of, things that we were doing in our sessions. So one day she said, she was giving me the good news. She said, I walked to the mailbox. I said, oh, this is great. Walk to the mailbox. How far is the mailbox? He said, well, to the mailbox and back is probably 15 minutes. I said, that's great. I said, well, let me stop you. Let me stop you right there. I said, do you realize that you could have walked your dog? She was like, you're right. I said, yeah. I said, your goal was to walk the dog, right? Yes. So that's what happened with us. It's right in front of us.
The food's right in front of you, guys.
You could have walked your dog. You walked to the mailbox by yourself and walked back to your house.
And called you.
And called me to tell me that you did it. Without your dog.
Without your dog and throughout the recycling.
Right. So all before that, she kept saying it, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't walk my dog. I can't walk my dog. I can't walk my dog. You went to get the mail, but you kept saying I can't walk my dog. But you went to get the mail, but I can't walk my dog. So that is, I would tell people that.
It's a great story. It's a funny one.
I'll tell people that your healing exists. It exists.
In all of us.
In all of you. Look in instead of out all the time.
And when are we going to see your podcast? So,
my podcast?
we need more people to hear you.
You know what? I have thought about, I used to have a radio show called The Chris Black Show.
Okay.
I did it for probably 8 years, but it wasn't about health. The interesting thing, it was only about entertainment.
Let's bring it together because...
It was about, so about 2 months ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it again, but I want to do a podcast. This time, it's going to be about health and wellness.
Listen.
And I just haven't done it.
Well, guess what? No, he hasn't done it yet, but next week, same time, we're going to get started. Chris Black, you have been a pleasure. Where can we find you on social media?
So social media, on my IG is The Chris Black Show. On Facebook is Dr. Chris Black on Facebook. There's a few on there, Dr. Chris Black. There's MS. So if you just put in Dr. Chris Black, you'll find that. My website is I Am Chris Black.
I-A-M Chris Black. And you're going to be seeing him performing with the rest of the comedians soon. Listen, you've been fantastic. I'd like to thank everybody here who helped us out. Jason, Samantha, you guys are the best. And so I guess we're signing off, and this talk show is on the go. I'm Sunda Kroonquist. I'm your host. Find me on all platforms on Sunda Live. Good night.